Oh! Oh! You! You! I didn't see you come in there. Don't you guys ever knock? Real quick video here. A few things I wanted to talk about. First thing, this came in the mail today finally. Boom! Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil. Not going to talk a lot about it here today, but yeah, complete inbox. Minty, minty, minty. The guy even put a bit of bubble wrap on top of the disc to protect it. I like to see that when I order things online. And I want to do a video shortly talking about why collectors, or at least some collectors, are really finicky when it comes to having the manual. You know, do we really read these things? Do we really look at them? Well, some of us do, so stay tuned for that. So, again, quick video. I wasn't really going to post a video today, but I saw MJR finally posted a video this morning. Now, quickly, just want to mention, I talked about this on my channel a couple of months ago, and I think what's happening with MJR, again, those of you who are out of the loop, he didn't post a video on his normal schedule, I guess you could say. What was it, on Tuesday? He didn't post a video. He did post a video on his MJR Extras channel. Now, I think, I know, MJR is burned out. He's absolutely run out of ideas to talk about. And it's not entirely his fault. It is and it isn't. He chose this path, the path he wanted to go down, creating a video game channel. The problem is when you specifically stick to video games, you run out of things to talk about. There's only so many PlayStation 2 games to talk about. There's only so many GameCube games to talk about. So I think he's finally starting to realize here, you know, he can't keep putting out these hidden gems videos. He's talked about every game 10 times over, including the video today he talked about. He's talked about those games like 100 times. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, MJR is clearly burned out. Now he's like stealing a page out of Hancock's book, and he's posted a video today talking about, he's like ranking, I guess, the Criterion games specifically for the PS2. And oddly enough, at the end of the video, he actually gave John Riggs a shout out for giving him, I guess, an inspiration to do this type of video. But he did not mention Hancock, so that was kind of weird. I don't know, open to interpretation, I guess. But I wanted to talk about it because MJR, I think he's way off base with regards to how he looks at the Burnout franchise. And actually, just quickly, MJR, he's always gushed about the game Black by Criterion. Like he literally blows his load every time he talks about it. And today is completely different. He's like, oh, it's not bad. It doesn't really hold up to Call of Duty. And yeah, it gets pretty boring. And yeah, I'm going to give it a B. Or maybe you give it a C. I can't remember. It's like, dude, weren't you just gushing about this game like in one of your Hidden Gems videos recently? Or maybe it was the backwards compatibility video where he talks about some of the OG Xbox games that works on his Xbox Series X. I think that's what it was. So check that out. And then today he's just like, yeah, Black's kind of boring. It doesn't really hold up. And shooting mechanics. Just a generic shooter. But yeah, I want to talk about the Burnout franchise. The reason is because I think MJR, number one, I don't think he's played the earlier titles. I think he just has them in his collection. And he played them for 10 minutes just to make this video that he posted today. And I also think, too, that the Burnout franchise in general is a bit overrated. So, first thing is, MJR thought the original Burnout was like the worst one of them all. I think he gave it like a C. I would argue, I would say this one's probably the best Burnout game in the series. This is the original Burnout. I was actually playing it a bit today. Now, the first two Burnout games were published by Acclaim. That does have some significance because the other titles that we're going to get to in a minute were not published by Acclaim. They were published by EA. So that kind of ties into what I'm talking about here. But this one specifically, the original Burnout, if you go back and play it now, it has a lot of similarities to Cruis'n USA. The handling's very much the same. The flow of traffic, the way the traffic is not only coming at you and going with you, but also going, you know, diagonally as well. The music is very similar of Cruis'n USA. So it's like, I know Acclaim is just a publisher, and I know Midway published and actually developed Cruis'n USA, but I'm wondering if there were some, I guess, ex-members of Midway that hopped on over to Criterion that we're working on this game. Because even the girl that says checkpoint when you go through the checkpoint, it's the exact same soundbite from Cruis'n USA. Go check it out if you don't believe me. It's crazy. So I like the simplicity of this one. I like the handling. It's very fast. MJR was also bitching about how the burnout meter takes forever to, basically maximize itself so that you can use the burnout meter. It's not that hard to gain full meter if you know what you're doing. And you don't want it to be full all the time either, because then you're constantly using the turbo, and that's just stupid. In this one here, you have to work for it, and then you're about 3/4 of the way through the track, and then you get a full meter, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, and then you burn it through, and then let's say you're in second or third place, and you get back to first, and then you win the race. So this one here, in my humble opinion, I would actually say the first Burnout is the best Burnout. You could argue that this one might be better. I'd say it's not quite as good. Burnout 2, which also has a director's cut on the original Xbox. I recently found that out from a subscriber of mine here. So yeah, Burnout 2, Point of Impact. It's more of the same. It's more of this. Again, this was the glory days of Acclaim. This was where we had that arcade action where you had a time limit on your track. It was straightforward. It wasn't too convoluted. One button racing where you got, well, I guess two. You got brake and gas. That's it. That's the way it should be. And even in these games, without using the brake, if you steer too aggressively, you can actually lose control of your vehicle. So very, wouldn't say realistic, but realistic enough. This one here I want to mention because MJR left it off of his video. And this is actually Burnout Dominator. It absolutely sucks. It wasn't developed by Criterion. And I think it was originally a PSP game that was ported to the PS2. It absolutely sucks. And this one here, I would say it's the second worst game in the series, is Burnout 3 Takedown. MJR goes on about this game like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. No, it's not. Go back and play this. You can't even tell where you're going half the time. It's just like everything's coming at you so fast. The screen is blurry. It's so confusing. The track design, the layouts, and not only that, like the crash mechanic that MJR gushes about. It's like the stupidest thing ever. There's like no strategy behind it. So those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, in Burnout 3 they introduced, I guess like a crash course where they have vehicles that are like in the middle of the road, and all you do is take your vehicle and drive into those vehicles, and then you get like a sick cutscene showing your vehicle flipping around and exploding. There's no point to it. It's really stupid. I can't stand it. But yeah, I would say this is the second worst Burnout game. Extremely overrated. I would say it doesn't hold a candle to Burnout 2, and it certainly doesn't hold a candle to the original Burnout. If you disagree, you can let me know in the comments below. But I popped this on. This is actually a Blockbuster release, a black case. I popped this on a couple of months ago, and I remember thinking to myself, like, what the fuck? I thought this was... Because MJR was the one that was pumping this thing up. And I put it on my 360, backwards compatible, and I'm like, holy fuck. Like, I don't know. I don't see it in this game. Again, I find the game's almost too fast, and it's way too difficult to gauge where you're supposed to turn. And although this isn't really an open world game, the tracks are not as linear as the first two Burnout games. So you can see it in this game when you play it. I don't know, I'm not into it. And the worst one, I don't even have it in my collection anymore. I actually donated it to the thrift store. I wanted it out of my collection that bad. Is Burnout Paradise. I think that's absolute trash. That was the beginning of the end for the Burnout franchise. Again, EA very much had their hands in the pot at that point. And Burnout has always been, to me, again, getting back to the original Burnout, a lot of the fun is the simplicity of just having those linear track designs, kind of like, Hot Pursuit on the 360. And to take it out of that element and put Burnout Paradise into like an open world and all the rest of it, I didn't like it. And the game is like a weird hue of green. all the time. It's just like, fuck, I can't handle it. And you know, I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan, and obviously Paradise City, although it's been played to death, it's a great tune. But fuck, you want to play that game to death? Go buy Burnout Paradise. You'll never want to listen to Paradise City ever again. So those are my thoughts on the Burnout franchise. Again, if you haven't played the original Burnout, don't listen to MJR. This is probably the best one. That or Burnout 2. And Burnout Takedown, it's not that good. It's okay. It's not that great. So that's it. Just a short video, guys. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Anyways, leave it down below, your thoughts on the Burnout franchise. I know there's a few other titles I didn't talk about here that are in the franchise. And I'm going to go have myself a glass of wine and sit down and watch a movie. I watched the movie earlier, by the way, The Lighthouse. I'll be talking about that soon on Movies on the Run, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a good night.